ICE announcing it's arrested this illegal migrant truck driver from Uzbekistan, saying he is wanted in his native country for distributing propaganda and recruiting terrorists. Agents arresting him while he was driving an 18-wheeler in Kansas. Pennsylvania issued him a commercial driver's license after the Biden administration let him in more than 2 years ago. Joining us now is Pennsylvania Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick.
I don't understand why we keep
so
letting
much
these
wrong
people
with
in,
this story.
and then they become
Number
truckers.
One, the company that hired him,
crazy.
and number two, the state that let him get a license.
That's crazy.
Go.
Yeah, well, this is Exhibit A, Brian, of the cascading effect of the catch and release policy that existed under the prior administration. So Bazarov was a 31-year-old Uzbeki national who was charged with multiple terrorism charges, not just being a terrorist himself, but training and recruiting terrorists. The Uzbeki nationals, the law enforcement did their job. They loaded the warrant up to a system called Interpol, which is an international clearinghouse for any warrants across the globe. But he comes to the southern border, tries to sneak across the border, is encountered by Border Patrol officers, provides fake ID. So when they run it in against the system, he doesn't ping. And because the previous administration, the previous Trump administration's Remain in Mexico policy was converted under the Biden administration to a catch and release, rather than being sent south to wait for his hearing, he was sent into the United States.
This is so stupid. This is what happens when you don't have good borders. We had a policy from Trump's first term that said keep them in Mexico. Then Biden comes in and says, no, you can go ahead and we'll just do a catch and release here in the States. This is so stupid. But then they become truck drivers. The worst of the worst, right? You become a truck driver. That's like the thing. Come in, get in this country, become a truck driver, then take all the money from trucking, but still be low key. When will we be better? This is why we have a great administration that's in right now that's going to make things possible for us to be able to be safe. This guy was a migrant truck driver, but it was an ex-terrorist in Uzbekistan. How the hell did he get a CDL? Like, this is why we have to have border protection. What if this guy was learn how to be a CDL driver, driving down, and now he know that he's a terrorist and he got stuff in the thing. He know all he could do is drive up and just blow some stuff up because he's in an 18-wheeler. Do people not think about this stuff? This is why we have to have better borders. This is why you don't let everybody in. This is why it needs to be a process before you come in. It shouldn't be you walk up and you just walk through the borders. It should be submit paperwork and we'll get back to you. We don't need the people to be coming across this border like this. We don't need it in America. We don't need it in the trucking industry. We got plenty of people here that need to get their ass back to work. Why are we letting people in here all willy-nilly when we don't even know who they are? And the guy has fake ID. I'm not trusting anybody ID that come over the border. Send it in through email, send it in through the right process, and then sit your ass in your country and just wait. There's a lot of criminals that come here. What I always said about the border policy is we don't get the best of the best. We get the worst of the worst. We don't get the people that are super smart that can push our country forward. We get the people that want to take, kill. That's the people that we end up getting. This is why I believe in don't let anybody in at all. Go through the process. Stay your ass in your country, and then what you'll do is you'll send us your paperwork, and we'll go through the process from there. But you can't just show up. That's what is happening. People just show up and they seek asylum. I need asylum. No. Go somewhere else. Because every time people come here, they messing up stuff. Then you get into the trucking industry, which is going to get worse, even messed up even more. Stop. Stay away. Stay over there. Why can't America, which is happening now, and why didn't they do it before? Well, we were just telling people, stay. Leave us alone. We have enough people. Close the doors. The immigration process needs to be done right. Stay in your country, submit your paperwork, we'll get back to you. But we're not going to be just under pressure and letting you guys in and say, oh, it's cool. But the crazy thing about this trucker, he got caught and it just let him go in America. You let him go in America. So what are we doing as a country, and how are we making our country better if we're bringing in criminals? So you can't say that criminals aren't coming here. They're coming here, becoming truck drivers, and not knowing, we don't know what the hell they really coming here for. Close the borders. I don't think anybody should be coming over. I think it should be a process. Submit the paperwork. Submit the documents. Once you get the A-OK, you can get a flight over here. We need to start having this process be even more strict, because what's happening is we have people coming over here like this, but then we have an administration that comes in. The Biden administration comes in and said, oh, we're going to change your law from stay in Mexico. We're going to change it to a catch and release in America because we want votes, because we need you to come here and vote for us because we gave you opportunity. Doesn't that sound like buying votes to you? Let's get some more information on this.
They never show up for their hearing. And then the cascading effect is DHS then gives him a work authorization because he cleared the protocol at the southern border. And then the Pennsylvania State Department of Transportation gives him a commercial driver's license because he cleared the DHS work permit process. So it's Exhibit A, the cascading effect of the open border policies under Mayorkas and Biden.
Real quick, in Pennsylvania, do you have to be able to speak English? I mean, wouldn't he have had to answer some questions in English?
No, the current protocol, Brian, is that if you can prove you're in the country legally, and that's what these people do, right? They gamed the system, the flawed system that exists under the Biden administration, to at least be granted temporary asylum status. So they, purportedly are going to show up for their hearing, which they never do. But that's what they use. They use that conditional probationary status to get all these other benefits.
So let's talk about what you just put out. And you basically has called for, as we look to fix Obamacare or change it, you basically say you got to move on this.
This is why our system is getting a final reset and reboot. What they do is they come across the border. They get caught, they get caught, or if they get caught, or they don't get caught, whatever. Once they get through that process, then they get to seek asylum or seek whatever. Then they be able to get a temporary stay, but then they get a court date. So they have to show up to the court date so they can go through everything. But in that meantime, they have this temporary status to where they can go get a CDO. They can go get all these things. They can get all these benefits. And then the court date comes and they don't go to the court date. They skip it. So how does a person go from the southern border, whether that's Texas or California, but I'm going to say California, and goes all the way across the country to Pennsylvania and gets a CDO license, but doesn't even go back to his court date? Why would he go back to his court date? He's already in America. It needs to start being like, hey, you got to stay in this prison or whatever we have at this border until your court date. What they were doing before in the Biden administration, they were just releasing them in the states and say, oh, just come back for your court date. They know they're not coming back. But this is why, as a system, we have to understand that we have to be better. We have to understand that stop letting people on these borders. Because if you're letting people in these borders, you're going to be finding terrorists. You're going to be finding people that should not be in this country. This is why we need to have the best of the best of the best coming in. There needs to be a better process. But this is why I love this administration, because this is what they're doing. They're not letting just anybody up in here. We got to think about our women and kids, okay? We got to make sure that everything is good in our country. Because if we don't and we keep letting people in here, America won't be the same America. It'll start looking like those countries where people are coming from.